The School of Hardknocks 25 took place at the Cypress Center in Medicine Hat. Professional and amateur fighters from across Canada battled it out in the Hardknocks cage.
To the School of Hard Knocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout at a catch weight of 197 pounds and is brought to you by D&D Oilfield. And now, let's meet the fighter. He's coming to you out of Medicine Hat. This is Dylan CUVILIER.
Dylan CUVILIER comes down to the cage to start the School of Hardknocks 25, and Dylan CUVILIER is going to take on KERRY Cardinal to start. And Dylan comes to us out of Pix Martial Arts and the Red Dragons team out of St. Albert, Alberta, and weighed in last night 197 pounds, and maybe as a result of where he was just 2 years ago, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, if you look at Dylan was talking to us, and he said 2 years ago he was a dirty, fat, smoking musician.
And that's a quote.
That's a quote, yeah. We're not calling him a dirty, fat, smoking musician.
And his opponent. He's fighting out of Calgary. This is KERRY Cardinal.
So KERRY Cardinal comes to us out of the Elite Training Center in Calgary, Alberta. An interesting reason for wanting to get into the cage. I always ask guys who are making their debut, why fight? Why MMA? And a pretty interesting answer coming from KERRY.
Yeah, he wants to be a ninja. And this is the best way, he said, to start it out. And he's been training about a year, seriously. And he feels confident with the ability that he has in stepping into the cage. And is looking forward to his first MMA fight.
Yeah, it's interesting in talking to KERRY, he said not very often does someone win a fight by leg kick, but that's how he intends to win this one, is to kick his opponent until his opponent has to retire from leg kicks.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighters introductions. In the Rig Pig Apparel blue corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 25 years old and stands 6 feet, 1 inch tall. He weighed in at 191 pounds, fighting out of Pix Martial Arts from Medicine Hat. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Dylan "Da Chin" CUVILIER. And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 27 years old and stands 5 feet, 11 inches tall. He weighed in at 197 pounds, fighting out of Elite Training Center from Calgary. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, KERRY Cardinal. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Mark Aparicio.
Mark Aparicio in charge of the action in the center of the cage, as coming out of the red corner in the black and white no-gi trunks is KERRY Cardinal. Blue corner with the black trunks, red trim for Dylan CUVILIER, as we get set for the first fight of the night here in the School of the Hard Knocks 25, coming to you from the Cypress Center in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Dylan coming forward with a couple wild shots there. A couple of them connecting, but nothing too serious. And in on the legs now, a nice little shot, good timing, but needs to get down a bit lower if he wants to be that effective on that.
tried the single leg and ends up now on the bottom as a result with a half guard. Kerry Cardinal now on top. So much for the leg kick strategy.
Well, you take what your opponent gives you, and he got in nice and tight, had double underhooks, and why not take him down and get on top? Now, obviously we can't do ground and pound to the head, but definitely to the body, they're going to go hard as well.
Cardinal now trying to torque on and try and put a little bit of pressure, but not much there, in danger of a choke at this moment. Not much movement, but CUVILIER gave up effectively gave up side control for an attempt to wall walk, and it seemed to have worked momentarily, but Cardinal doing a good job of putting him back on his back.
Yeah, they're right up here against us, and nice knees being delivered to the midsection. Good timing on those ones, and those are opportunistic knees that are going into the midsection of Dylan CUVILIER.
Now again, here in under amateur rules in Medicine Hat, strikes to the head of a downed opponent are legal, so you will see that in our amateur fights. In Calgary, of course, not legal. So as you watch different Hard Knocks fights, you'll get to see different sets of rules.
Let's do it, come on.
Oh, good control here. And again, nice strikes being landed. He's staying busy, is Kerry Cardinal. So that's what the judges are looking for, that the athletes are keeping busy on the top, and a nice warning there by Aparicio, a couple fingers reaching up into the eyes, so definitely protecting that, as that's illegal.
1 minute left on our feature productions time clock here in round number 1. 3 3-minute rounds. 3 3-minute rounds here for the amateurs, 5-minute rounds when we get to the pros later tonight. 3 pro fights on the card, including our main event, as Charmaine Not So Sweet Tweet takes on Adrian at Belte, and she'll be looking for a win there later tonight.
And this is good, solid work by Kerry Cardinal. He's actually holding. You would say that you're in a half guard right now, but it looks like Kerry Cardinal's now advanced up to the mount. He's got a nice high mount, so he's looking to drop some big shots. And there's a nice one there that got through.
Nice mount, ground and pound here with just 10 seconds left. It'll have to be whether or not this fight gets called. Some intelligent defense on the bottom as we get towards the very end of the first round. Just a couple seconds left, and Dylan CUVILIER will last another round as he gets ready for round number 2. A strong finish to that round from Kerry Cardinal.
Yeah, laying the bombs down, and you look at Mark Aparicio the whole time. He's doing the stutter step that referees often do in that 10 seconds, especially when they see those hands defending. There was defense going on there, but at the same time, he's got to protect the athletes. And you watch the stutter step here of Mark Aparicio in the replay. He's stepping forward to stop it, and just lets it go because he sees those hands defending. At the end of the round, he asked Dylan, "How are you doing?" He said, "I'm fine. I want to keep continuing." So that's great watching by our officials here, and we always have great officials in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship, something that can't be said for some of the other organizations out there.
Well, or some even professional judging, as Manny Pacquiao found out. But some good officials here, some good judges here from the Medicine Hat Commission, so I'm sure we won't see a Bradley-like victory tonight. But Kerry Cardinal clearly the winner of round number 1. The question becomes whether or not it becomes a 10-8 round, as he was fairly dominant and did not really surrender any strikes to his opponent, and was in total control once the fight went to the ground.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty big for a 10-8, and here now you start to see the leg kicks from Kerry Cardinal, and landing them to the joy of his training partners who are out there coaching him.
Big right hand coming across from CUVILIER. And a big knee to the midsection. Again, no knees or elbows to the head of an opponent at any time.
Punch him when he kicks, punch him.
There's a good shot there. Couple strikes now trying to get through from Dylan. Again, CUVILIER in the black and red trunks, the black trunks with white trim for Kerry Cardinal.
Great leg kick there, and those to the inside, a little bit high. And right in the mummy daddy button.
That was a clean kick. That was in the leg.
That's always a painful way to get introduced to your second round of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, and you know that we talk about this every time that this happens. What's important here is that Dylan take the time to recover. We saw the fight of the night in our last event at Hardknocks 24. The fight of the night was because or in Estevan rather, where the fighter came back to win after a shot because he did take the full 5 minutes.
Take the fight to him.
The replay of that, we never have to see a replay of that. And then an attempt at a throw, and there is the throw. So now getting underhooks of his own, but instantly switched over, and that is just pure muscle by Kerry Cardinal because there was no technique. It's I'm going to push your hips and I'm going to just start rolling. And great job. He ends up with side control. And that's got to be demoralizing for Dylan CUVILIER. And there's the tap there. And it looks like a Kimura victory from the other side of the cage. Kerry Cardinal, emphatic in victory, has very happy with his end result. As you could hear him even on our microphones here, and we'll be in to talk to Kerry in just a moment, and it'll be back to the drawing board for Dylan CUVILIER. Well, I think once Dylan CUVILIER got the throw and then immediately got switched, it was really tough for him to fight off. He put all of his effort to end up on top and then ended up right at the bottom there.
A special thank you goes out to Davis GMC, the Hardknocks official replay sponsor.
So we're just waiting for our official decision here, but Kerry Cardinal pushing his record to 1-0, landing some massive leg kicks, put on a good display for his first ever fight, and getting some love from the fans now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by D&D Oilfield. The winner by tap out due to Americana at 1 minute and 21 seconds in the second round. In the red corner, Kerry Cardinal.
Kerry Cardinal 1-0, and he'll be with Ryan.
Kerry, I'll get you here, center of the cage. A big smile on your face after you pop up from the submission victory.
I don't know what to say. That was fun. Thanks everyone for coming. But yeah, I got nothing to say.
Well, let's walk us through the replay here, because he secures the nice throw, but then you power through and get the submission. How tough was that to get out from underneath?
Not really. His hips were really high. As soon as you brace with that momentum, he's pushing forwards. You just take him for the ride.
Now, you got one of the best jiu-jitsu coaches here in Canada in Anderson Goncalves. You got some other coaches, I'm sure, helped you out along the way.
Yeah, Anderson, amazing jiu-jitsu coach. Sorry, Francois Duval, best striking coach, best person I've ever met. And then Alan Hernandez. These three guys changed my life. So if you have a chance, train with them, because they'll change yours too if you put in the work.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, Kerry Cardinal.
I just want to thank everyone that came down from Calgary, my dad, my family, these guys. The support means a lot. And everyone here for supporting MMA. You give us a chance to compete, do something that we love, so thank you for supporting this.
Guys, we're here with Dylan
CUVILIER.
CUVILIER. It was his amateur debut and great judo throw. Tell me, give me your thoughts on the fight.
Well, big thing was I went in there thinking, shit, I got awesome Japanese jiu-jitsu. I thought my ground game was going to be so much better than this. I went for the takedown, landing on my back, and it was not what I thought was going to happen. And you know what? I tried very hard to get him off me, and then at the end of the first round, I know the ref was about to stop because he had mount and he was throwing down punches on me. I was yelling at the ref. I said, I'm fine. Don't stop the fight. I was giving him thumbs up as I was blocking punches. I had that second round in me. I went in, I caught him with a good couple punches. He kicked me in the nuts. We had to take the break. I went in there, caught him with some more punches, threw him on the ground, and yeah, and then on my back again, got the Americana. But you know, it's all good. It's all good. First fight comes down to just little mistakes like that. Should have my hips further apart after the throw. You know?
Absolutely. One of the things I keep preaching is that fighters got to get tons of experience. They've got to be in the cage and practicing and you know, get you in there 10 more times and then it'll be a different story.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Are you training a bunch now? Or are you planning on coming back and doing a bunch more fights?
Oh, hopefully. I mean, like, definitely. I mean, I wish there was events closer to Edmonton, St. Albert, but you know, Medicine Hat, I love the ground and pound. I don't think I could do Calgary because, you know, I wouldn't look this pretty afterwards in a Calgary fight. So no, I'll be back. Sorry, I shouldn't. Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back fighting for you guys, man. This is you guys put on a great show. I loved it. Every minute of it. Every little punch, it was a blast. And you know what? I'm glad I got to open the show up because, you know what? Best fight of the night. Sorry. First one, yeah. We got the show going for you guys.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll see you back in the Hardknocks cage.
Absolutely, man.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 145-pound division and is brought to you by Ralph's Sports Bar. And now, let's meet the fighters. He's coming to you out of Lethbridge. This is Ryan Clark.
So Ryan Clark coming down out of Lethbridge MMA Center, one of the newer gyms there. Ryan Clark said that one of the big benefits of his gym is it's really close to home, so he thinks that makes it an awesome gym. He's been training for about 4 years in judo, something that we don't really see here in the MMA, but he wanted to transition to MMA because he found that there wasn't enough competition in judo, and this is a guy who strives on competition.
And his opponent. He's fighting out of Yellowknife. This is Ren Besara.
Ren Besara comes down to the cage out of Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories, 1-1 as an amateur, and it's interesting to talk to him about fighting a fighter that's making his debut because he said he'll be able to avoid the adrenaline dump that comes out with the first 30 seconds of the fight. You've spent all this time hyping yourself up to fight. You've spent all these weeks and weeks and weeks preparing. All day you've been waiting to get into the cage, and when the cage door finally closes, there's that moment where the adrenaline sags a moment, and you come out for your first 30 seconds, and then you just you feel a bit of a drain.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the Rig Pig Apparel blue corner, he's 1-1 as an amateur, 21 years old, and stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall. He weighed in at 146 pounds, fighting out of MMA Center from Lethbridge. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Ryan Clark! And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 29 years old and stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall. He weighed in at 145 1/2 pounds, fighting out of True North Combat Sports from Yellowknife. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Ren Besara! This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Elvis Lyon.
So Ren Besara out of the red corner at 1-1. Ryan Clark out of the blue corner making his amateur debut as these two fighters get set to go. And you mentioned, Jeremy, Ryan Clark has not stopped moving since he got into the cage, even doing some shadow boxing.
Well, and it could be something that is in his nature to be that moving, but we're talking about that energy and how much you use it and how much it makes a difference in your amateur debut. And look at Ren Basara, just nice and calm.
And big leg kicks coming from Basara. Big swinging punches in response. And Basara with a nice takedown now finds himself in the half guard of Clark, who's holding him down, and he's looking to pass and pass quickly.
Yeah, he's looking to pass, and good explosiveness shown here by Ren Basara. And nice throw. He ended up in good position, didn't overextend himself, which is a lot of time what happens when you go for those big throws is you overextend yourself a little bit.
So again, in half guard. And a nice job of punishing his opponent, but is Clark doing a good job of using the cage to get up, with Basara doing a good job of landing strikes to his opponent from that position, although it seemed like he backed off a bit and let Ryan off the cage, but now catching the leg kick and driving through with a nice takedown.
And a good job by Ryan Clark to get up the first time, and you look now as he continues in his corner yelling at him to wall walk. That takes a lot of energy to get up off your feet, and the only thing that he got for it was taken down again, and it was a dynamic takedown. Really shows the judges that you know what you're doing. Good, nice control shown here by Ren Basara.
Basara for a moment might have been in a little bit of trouble, but now dropping hammer fists on Clark, who's covering up and scrambling to get out, but doing a good job of limiting the damage on himself by doing a nice job to scramble away.
And again, capitalizing on that momentary lapse of concentration by Ryan Clark. Basara back on top. It was a second where I think Ryan Clark thought that Ren was going to let him back up. And as soon as he got that instant of relaxation, Ren pounced on him, ended up in a side position. Almost got a crucifix now.
Well, when I talked to him last night at the weigh-ins, he said that ground and pound was definitely his option. That will be an illegal elbow from Ren Basara, and of course you cannot elbow a downed opponent. Cannot no knees or elbows to the head to any opponent here, and so an elbow, and we will see a point deducted from Ren Basara here, and for the illegal strike, and more of a forearm shiver, if you will, from our perspective, rather than a flat elbow, but nevertheless does find himself down a single point in round number one here as Elvis Lyon takes him around the little walk of shame around the cage, and a tough point to lose if you're Ren Basara, because you're clearly winning the first round. Not much time left in the first round, and now all of that for naught, and it comes out even.
Yeah, and right back to some nice striking there from both these guys. Oh, a spinning back fist by Ren Basara. One of those moves that if it lands, it's always epic, and just a hair off.
Well, and you could see him trying to pull Clark into it, because he feigned back on the one leg like he was going back an extra step and then pivoted to throw that fist. So a nice a fake there from Ren Basara, but it doesn't land.
10 seconds left with a nice takedown, and immediately just like dumped him off, and now trying for a guillotine. Short time left now in the round, and I don't think he's going to be able to finish here. And that's a round that is going to go to Basara, but is going to end up as a draw round, a 9-9 round in our opinion, obviously, if the judges saw it another way. But it's going to be 9-9, and so Ren Basara is going to have to win 2 rounds to be able to win this fight, and same for Ryan Clark. Maybe that was his round to say welcome to MMA, and now he's going to come out. You saw flashes of brilliance there, some great strikes. We're going to look at the replay of the attempted finish there. He got in on the guillotine, but here's Ryan Clark grabbing onto that arm, or grabbing onto that leg part, and not enough pressure to be able to finish him off.
Yeah, I think maybe if he had a couple more seconds there, but you could hear the 10-second clapper as he threw him down to the ground and then tried to jump on him and secure the choke, but was unable to do so. As a result, we head into the second round, and again, at best, it's a draw for Ren Basara, who had a point deducted for an illegal elbow. So Basara in the black trunks out of the red corner, white trunks in blue corner for Ryan Clark. Both fighters eager to get to the center of the cage, but we need to wait until those cage doors are closed, and they are now closed, so we are back underway here in the second fight of the night here at the Hardknocks Fighting Championship 25 from Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Yeah, you look at Ren Basara, the leg kicks, and here's the difference. And a nice catch, and then trip there by Basara. The difference between the two kicks, Ryan Clark is kicking and keeping his leg there. When Basara kicks, his leg goes out and back at the same speed. He hits and brings it right back. It doesn't allow for that catch, whereas Ryan Clark is kicking for power, but trying to kick through, and you can't do that in a situation where an opponent like Ren Basara can catch you.
Don't let him control posture. Sweep him, Clark.
Clark now trying to pass, working to pass, but unable to do so. Maybe now just in a half guard, and it is just now a very loose half guard, and as a result, he eats a couple punches.
You can see this, this is going to be a risky position, and thankfully Ryan Clark got out of it, because when that elbow's in behind the back like that, it does not spell anything, because there's no muscles to stop that. It's just basic arm and elbow dislocation.
Basara continuing to work for a dominant position on top. Nice strike there. And is trying to, I mean, at this point, isolating Clark's arm across his own neck. And then once he gets free, he drops another bomb. This is a very effective performance so far from Ren Basara.
Absolutely. And does a great job here, continuing to be the continuity of his action is clear. And there's another one where he's pouncing on his opponent when his opponent loses concentration.
And that's a rookie mistake from Ryan Clark, rolling away, taking his eyes off his opponent. Ren looked like he was going to let him get up, and he rolled away and exposed his back temporarily, and now finds himself mounted by Basara, who took advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I'm surprised just by the situation that Ren didn't try and give him a nice little soccer kick to the stomach. And a nice armbar attempt here, and doesn't look like Ryan Clark is in much danger, showing some flexibility at the moment. But we'll see what ends up happening here, trying to position. And it is called for, and there is the submission. So submission by armbar, victory goes to Ren Basara.
And we'll be in to talk to Ren in just a moment. Again, for Ryan Clark, does need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And again, those rookie mistakes that he certainly won't make twice.
Well, and if Ryan Clark had been fighting an opponent who maybe was on his first fight, this might have been a different result, because he had a lot of good things going for him. The striking was good, the defense was good. A nice little replay of that trip by Ren Basara, but you look at the first round, ball walked off. You look at the second round, intelligent jiu-jitsu defense. So ends up getting tapped out to an armbar, but that's a learning experience. And the great thing about the amateur ranks is it doesn't matter as you lose in the amateur, because as long as you learn and advance and get better, because once you turn professional, that amateur record disappears. Just waiting on the official decision. It looks like it's in. And with that, we are going to go to the voice.
Special thank you goes out to the official time clock sponsor, Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Ralph's Sports Bar. The winner by tap out due to armbar at 2 minutes and 25 seconds in the second round. In the red corner, Ren Basara.
Basara now 2-1. He's with Ryan.
Ren, we'll get you here. The first round, you get tagged for an elbow. Looked like you just kind of missed the punch, a little bit of a forearm shiver, but you lose the 1 point. How much harder do you have to come out in round 2, knowing that at best round 1's a draw?
My coach said, like, just to forget about it and come out, do the things I've been doing in the first round.
Now, you finished the fight with an armbar. I'm sure we got the replay up here. Why don't you walk us through it?
I just tried to hold on. I tried to do what do you call it there? Like come over with the legs. Tried to grab his neck. I guess he was just too tired. It wasn't that hard, but I guess he was just tired.
Now, a couple times he was down on the ground. Looked like you were going to let him get back up, and then as soon as he went to, you jumped in and swarmed him. Is that a game plan move? Because it's not something we see very often.
It was just all instinct. I didn't really know what was going on. I was just fighting, that's all.
And I'm sure you got some coaches, sponsors to thank?
They know who they are.
I want to go rest. They know who they are, and he wants to rest. Let's hear it one more time for your winner, ladies and gentlemen, Ren Basada.
We're here with Ren Becerra. I love it. Nice hat. Second time in the Hard Knocks cage. Both times, superior skills. Unexpected by most people because of where you're from, Yellowknife, but I really appreciate the skills. It's great. We'd love to have you down. Your brother was talking about that he turned pro, too early, and he wished he stayed amateur. And I spent a lot of time talking to people about staying amateur and getting a lot of experience. It's great that you're doing it. Talk to me about what your plans are.
The plans are just get better every fight, be more comfortable. And relaxation's like #1 key for me. Because I'm in there and then your heart's going, It's hard to relax. And I guess my brother said about challenging for the belt. I'm kind of maybe 3-4 fights away from that, but if I stay active, that's my plan.
Perfect. So you're gonna try and fight on a regular basis and stay amateur and try and get a title fight. Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
This School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 155-pound division and is brought to you by Essential Energy Services. And now, let's meet the fighters. He's fighting out of Lethbridge. This is Miguel TOCK.
So Miguel TOCK comes down fighting at an MMA center in Lethbridge, Alberta. Making his amateur debut, like the fighter in the last fight. Coming in, he doesn't think that he's nervous. His nerves aren't an issue. Coming in, fashions himself a grappler. He's been training for about 6 months, and mentioned that his opponent Curtis BELCOURT had tape out there, but he wasn't able to get a hold of it. He preferred to have it, but at the end of the day, he wants to have his own fight plan going through.
And his opponent. He's coming to you out of Medicine Hat. This is Curtis BELCOURT.
So Curtis BELCOURT comes to us out of Medicine Hat, Alberta. 2-0 as an amateur, standing 5'10" and weighs in at 21 years old, and is coming in looking to continue his undefeated amateur career. Won his last fight by rear naked choke in the very first round. And you talked about Miguel TOCK not having tape on his opponent and how he would have liked to have watched it, but thought about having to develop his game plan. No tape available on Miguel TOCK because this is his first fight. And in talking to Curtis, he says that means you have to be more prepared in every single aspect of MMA because you don't know what your opponent's going to be bringing to the cage.
Well, and the tough thing about it is even MMA Center, every gym has got a speciality, and you know kind of what you're getting from a jiu-jitsu gym. But you look at MMA Center, is a very new gym, so you don't even know the profile necessarily of the guys that are coming out from that gym.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the Rig Pig Apparel blue corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 24 years old and stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall. He weighed in at 154 1/2 pounds, fighting out of MMA Center from Lethbridge. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Miguel TOCK. And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, he's 2-0 as an amateur, 21 years old, and stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall. He weighed in at 155 pounds, fighting out of Underground Training Center from Medicine Hat. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Curtis BELCOURT. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Elvis Lyon.
So Elvis Lyon ready to get the fight underway. Both fighters, of course, agreeing to touch gloves, as will happen often tonight. Although there's one fight where I'm not expecting it. We'll see if that comes to pass. But Miguel TOCK in the black and blue trunks, black and white Hayabusa trunks for Curtis Belcourt, who tried to throw and is still grappling and now takes the fight down to the ground, finds himself in the half guard of TOCK as he, both of them trying to find the advantage there in the early going.
Yeah, both coming out very aggressive, but aggressive straight to grappling, as opposed to any striking going on. But you look at just the size at 155 that Curtis Belcourt is, and he's not a professional 155. He's just an amateur at this point, and he's big, like he's Sean Shirk big. So. And he's just going for bear and a little bit of squeezing now, trying to position that arm down so he's able to strike, and you don't need much, and that's going to be enough to be able to get a few strikes in right there, as Curtis Belcourt does. Nice, sure. Let's keep him right here.
Belcourt on top of TOCK here in the early going of round number 1. 2 minutes to go here in the first of 3 3-minute rounds, if necessary, as per our feature productions fight clock.
Get that crossface again if you see it.
A nice defense here from TOCK on the bottom. Now has Belcourt in the full guard. Belcourt still trying to put a little bit of a choke on, and not enough to end the fight, Jeremy, but certainly enough to limit the air supply of TOCK.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, and it's kind of one or the other. You are limiting the air supply, you are squeezing on the head, but you're also wearing out your arms. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It's a 50-50 in my opinion, especially when you see the musculature on Belcourt, and it's going to take a lot to be able to power those muscles that whole time. But you can see he's just basically throwing Miguel TOCK around like a rag doll, and that's nothing on TOCK. That's just showing what could just be a matter of time. There's the tap on the far side of the cage. This fight is over. Miguel TOCK tapping on the opposite side of Curtis Belcourt as he does a cartwheel out of the choke, grabbed his opponent's back and did not give it up, coming away with his 3rd consecutive victory. At 3-0 now, and looking like he was a little bit upset after that one. Make sure that he told everybody that he was 3-0 as we look at the feature fights replay here, and got it down again, throwing TOCK around like a rag doll, just showing the physicality that he has. And as you see it lock in, there's the tap, and unfortunately on the wrong side.
Ladies and gentlemen, a special thank you goes out to Medicine Hat News, the official newspaper of Hard Knocks Fighting, the best news in Medicine Hat.
Yeah, kids, I'll say this here: if you are out and you're doing some jiu-jitsu and somebody's tapping you, make sure that the person who needs to see can see you. Use that free arm if you can, just for safety's sake. But Miguel TOCK.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Essential Energy Services. The winner by tap out due to rear naked choke at 2 minutes in the very first round, in the red corner, Curtis Belcourt.
Curtis Belcourt now 3-0, and he's going to be with Ryan.
Curtis, you started the fight, looked like a grappling match. You came in, both of you trying to throw each other off the feet. Looked like you were able to power through.
Yeah, it's just probably my rig strength right there, working rigs from when I was young, so. Give props to that, working hard every day paid off, I guess.
And then we'll get the replay up here. Once you took his back, it was just a matter of time before you secured the choke.
Yeah, I just kind of played around with it for a little bit, and once I felt it, I squeezed, you know. Same as last time, I guess.
Now, you're starting to get a bit of a reputation there now. 2 straight first-round wins by a choke. Something your opponents are going to have to train a little harder for.
I like to think I'm a stand-up guy myself, but it goes to the ground. But I don't know. I'll do wherever it goes. I guess I'll stand up all day if that's what they want to do. So.
And I'm sure you got coaches, fans, sponsors to thank.
Oh, I gotta thank all my coaches, my friends, my family, my beautiful girlfriend for supporting me through all the shit, weight cutting and all that. You know, I can only imagine going through it on the other side, so. But yeah, thanks to everybody who comes and trains at Underground. It's awesome. Everybody who comes out to watch and see me win these fights, it's awesome. Makes me train that much harder. Thank you, everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, hometown boy, Curtis Belcourt.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
In the Rig Pig Apparel blue corner, he's 2-1 as an amateur, 20 years old, and stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall. He weighed in at 191 pounds, fighting out of INC Kickboxing and Team Extreme from Medicine Hat. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Kevin LAGASSE! In the Flamins Fitness red corner, he's 1-1 as an amateur, 24 years old, and stands 6 feet, 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 186.5 pounds, fighting out of Dynamic MMA from Calgary. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Zach the Last Warrior This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Brian Beauchamp.
Brian Beauchamp in charge of the action in the center of the cage. As both fighters come out, Many Wounds in the white trunks, LAGASSE in the black trunks. And both these fighters a tentative start, as both a lot of respect going both ways here for the skill of their opponent.
Yeah, different builds on these two guys too. You look at Many Wounds, more of a tall, athletic overall build, and you look at LAGASSE, more of compact, but a lot of power in there. When you're about 5 foot, when you're about 5'10" and 190 pounds, that's a big difference than 6'3" and 190 pounds.
Couple jabs, couple tentative leg kicks, a slow start to this amateur main event. Just 3 3-minute rounds here in the amateur ranks. We'll get up to 5-minute rounds in our next fight.
Trying to find his range is Zach Many Wounds.
Getting a lot of advice from the crowd as
smart
Zach
crowd.
Brings a lot of fans with him. And it's funny, very humble about it too. When I asked him yesterday if he expects to see a lot of fans, he said he wasn't sure if anybody was coming to watch him at all.
Good takedown there by LAGASSE, being able to hold his opponent up against the cage and then get into a good solid position, getting side control and dropping big elbows onto the thigh of Zach Many Wounds, trying to take away that base.
And when you've got arms the size of Kevin LAGASSE and that elbow comes down, it's gonna hurt you.
Well, now in a mount position, dropping to the back of the shoulders. Again, in an amateur fight in the Calgary rules, you can't strike a downed opponent to the head. So you look at amateurs will try and put some power into body shots, and it gives them the opportunity to stay low when they get in a mount position. Oftentimes, when you get to a high mount position in being able to strike the head, you're able to get bucked off, and that's what the opponent can do. In this position, staying nice and low, it's very hard to get out of a mount, as we're seeing with Zach Many Wounds right now.
LAGASSE continuing to work from up top. That was a big knee into the midsection of Many Wounds. 45 seconds remaining here in round number 1, and Kevin LAGASSE doing a very good job of keeping Zach Many Wounds down on the ground.
Yeah, if you watch the legs of Zach Many Wounds, when he's trying to get off his back here, he needs to put his feet back on the mat. He has somewhere to push off of, as you see him pushing off the cage. He tried to just shift his weight, and that's not good when you have somebody that's so solidly built as Kevin LAGASSE. It's not spread out, so he needs to keep his feet on the mat and push in that same situation. submission. Big fist dropping from Kevin Legacy. Again, on top of Zach Manywounds here in our amateur main event with just 10 seconds to go in round number 1. Legacy looks like he will end this in the dominant position and certainly take round 1 on the judges' scorecards from Zach Manywounds.
A good first round by Legacy. And he didn't necessarily use a lot of energy in that round. Once he got the takedown, he wasn't panicked, but he continued to power down and be effective striking on top.
A good job so far by Kevin Legacy. Again, a short notice fight. This fight agreed to just 10 days ago, and both these fighters, again, having to shift their game plan. The plan for Zach Manywounds, I believe he was fighting not necessarily a different body type than we see in Kevin Legacy, who's very compact, and when he gets on top, like you will here in the takedown, when he gets on top of Zach Manywounds here, Manywounds not with that much bulk in the upper body of Kevin Legacy makes him harder to move once he's on top.
Yeah, and he's also in good position, sitting on the hips. So sitting on the there's two center balances on a human body: the hips and the shoulders. More shoulders than hips on men. But you sit on those hips and take them away, and that's how you're going to be able to remain on top in a dominant position. And good for Kevin Legacy. Again, not expending a lot of energy. He did mention that cardio was an issue for him. Good round for him. It's a good round when you don't expend a lot of energy and yet you still win.
So a solid round for Kevin Legacy. Zach Manywounds will have to change that around. Can't afford to spend the rest of the time on the bottom if you want to win a fight here in the Hardknocks Fighting Championship. And Legacy and Manywounds now up against one another in round number 2 here in our amateur main event. Pro fights are next here at the Hardknocks Fighting School of Hardknocks 23, live from the Subway Soccer Center.
I was just about to say it surprises me with Zach having such a forward position that Legacy isn't attacking that leg, and just as I was thinking it, there's a big kick and there's another one there. A big forward position, stepping in on a double and a nice takedown again, timing the double with the kick and ending in a good position in the guard now of Zach Manywounds.
Legacy again on top of Manywounds and will continue to throw down punches. And again, no strikes to the head of a downed opponent here under the Calgary Combative Commission rules, but certainly strikes to the body, and Kevin Legacy has been doing that and more here in the first 2 rounds whenever he's gotten on top.
Yeah, and again, a good pass by Kevin Legacy, and not expending a lot of energy and still being effective. A little bit of cage walking going on by Manywounds, but again, he's got such a bulk to be able to get off. It's very difficult, and a great knee there right to the side of Manywounds.
Yeah, that knee landed hard. Manywounds trying to scramble back to the guard, but Legacy doing a good job on the ground of holding his opponent where he wants him, controlling the cage, keeping his opponent on the ground where he can't use his reach advantage as an advantage.
Yeah, this is a classic wrestling hold, being able to hold a guy in a head and arm and hold him on his back. Being able to hold the other center of gravity is the shoulders. Now getting to the mount, and again, he's got that low mount, and it's very hard to get somebody off of a low mount. The reason that you don't see a low mount in the UFC is because they're striking to the head. Here in amateur, in Calgary, you can't strike to the head, so one is sit right down and land blows to the body, just as Legacy is doing here.
Again, Legacy doing an excellent job of controlling his opponent, effectively riding Zach Manywounds around the cage as Manywounds tries to find an opening. Does manage to pull him down temporarily, but not for long. Back to the mount goes Legacy, and again, dropping punches on Zach Manywounds in the midsection and ribs area. And unlike earlier fights where we said the punches weren't going to do much damage, when Kevin Legacy hits you, he hits you for real, and and he's doing exactly that to Zach Manywounds here.
Yeah, we've got a table that is actually touching the cage, and every time the Kevin Legacy drops one of those big shots, the cage shakes and the table shakes just a tiny little bit. And currently we're about 15 feet away from the action.
So again, continuing the ground dominance
at the end of round number 2 is Kevin Legacy, and Zach Manywounds is going to have to win this fight in the third if he wants to have a chance at having his hand raised.
Yeah, and Manywounds is going to have to come out really aggressive, and he's going to have to use the range. He's going to have to use the range and try and catch Kevin Legacy out of position. The problem is Kevin Legacy's got a really good chin on him, so it's tough for him to be able to think that he's going to win this one. But stranger things have happened. Again, everybody's got an off button somewhere on their chin. Great takedown here.
Yeah, an excellent takedown. Just bull rush right through Zach Manywounds. Grabbed the one leg, and Manywounds could only hop backwards for so long on the other one before going to the ground. And after that, it was all Legacy as he continued his ground dominance here through round number 2. And will likely, Jeremy, look to do the same in round number 3.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you've got a guy on his back, he's very unlikely to be able to knock you out, which is, I think, the only way, other than a submission, that Zach Manywounds would be able to win this fight, as the first 2 rounds definitely do go to Kevin Legacy, at least on my scorecard. And if you look at Legacy, though, when we looked at the takedown, the only thing, and nitpicking again, that I would like to see from Legacy is being able to clear those legs in midair and then land inside control. He landed in the guard, and both times he ended up a takedown, and against a guy who's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, that can be dangerous. So just swinging those legs out, ending inside control.
Brian Beauchamp ready, and so are our fighters for the third and final round here in our amateur main event. And Legacy comes out with a leg kick after a couple testing jabs from Zach Manywounds.
And now using his striking.
Kick to the midsection. That one hurt him, though. You could see his face when Legacy landed the kick. Manywounds winced. And Legacy trying to get inside the reach, and just, again, the bull rush forward, the drive to the cage to put him up against it. And now he'll be trying, he's got a single leg, will look for the takedown here, but Manywounds trying the guillotine choke. He may have an arm-in choke here up against the cage with Legacy holding on. This height advantage from Zach Manywounds may come into play as he goes down to the ground. Again, the guillotine choke still a possibility here for Zach Manywounds, but now he's let it go, and Legacy's on top, and this has not turned out well so far for Zach Manywounds.
Well, there's a couple options there for Legacy to get out of that. The first one is he hips in and he picks up Manywounds right up in the air. With the amount of pressure that Manywounds was doing, that would have alleviated pressure. The other way, get to the side, take away the pressure of the choke, and end up on top, just like he's done here.
Again, more punches to the midsection, and now elbows to the midsection. A minute and a half left, and if Kevin Legacy can duplicate his success from the earlier 2 rounds, he'll be sure to have his hand raised at the end of this one.
And back immediately to that low mount position, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just stays here, good solid position, not giving up any opportunity for a submission, and looking to push his victories to 3, and 3-1 his record. But again, lots of time left in this fight for Manywounds, 1 minute 4 seconds on our feature fight clocks that you see on the right-hand side of your screen.
Kevin Legacy continuing to dominate on top, and Zach Manywounds starting to feel the pain of those punches. His face now starting to exhibit the damage that's getting done, and starting to wince a little bit. Kevin Legacy doing yeoman work on top of Zach Manywounds, just throwing down punches into the midsection. Again, no strikes to the head of a downed opponent, or one has to think, Jeremy, that this fight might have been over a long time ago.
Yeah, in this position, but again, if he takes a different position higher up, that maybe that gives Manywounds an opportunity to get free. But as it is now, just a dominant performance here by Kevin Legacy.
So Legacy uses his wrestling to his advantage here as he continues to work ground and pound on Zach Manywounds, as he has for the better part of 9 minutes. And with just a few seconds remaining here, Legacy putting the finishing touches on a likely victory.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Cruz Custom Home. The winner by unanimous decision in the blue corner, Kevin LAGASSE! Legacy!
So Legacy pushes his record to 3-1 as an amateur.